Put on your best.
So you have a drummer. Well, you're a drummer.
I have 3 drummers in
Three
one
drummers.
home.
So
Yeah.
Wyatt and Dusty
And myself.
and you.
Yeah.
And just wait till Willow picks up the
She's
drums.
already trying a little bit. Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. It sounds like a rehearsal space at a music school in my house. Sometimes 3 different rhythms going at 3 different times. Right.
But it's such a good thing to learn.
Yeah,
you know?
it is. It's great. I love the instrument. It's great, but you have to have a soundproofing scenario and solution. Otherwise, the neighbors go crazy, and the people. And my wife especially goes crazy. She walks around with
Headphones.
shooter the kind you use for firearms.
Oh, really?
She's got those soundproof headphones,
So that she can focus on her work and
so
not
she
get
can
a
actually
headache.
not want to attack us with a baseball bat. It's enough already.
Yeah. Well, anyway, who are you, by?
I'm Eric Stroman.
And I'm Cindy Dole, and this is Home Wizards. So I thought we would walk you through some ways to soundproof your home so that maybe you don't want to hear the neighbor who is playing drums in your apartment or condo. Or let's say you are in your house, but you've got a plane that's flying over all the time. You want to be able to have some peace and quiet, darn it.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff in your home, like if you have a drum set in a room, the thing that's irritating more than anything is the reflections that are coming from sound bouncing off of parallel walls, right? Mm-hmm. So if you've got like a gymnasium, for example, the reason it sounds like it's echoing is because there's a bunch of parallel walls and the sound waves just bounce back and forth to give you that hollow sound of like a gymnasium, right?
So when you're playing basketball.
Same with your room with a musical instrument or a stereo or a mixing room for music. If it's not designed correctly, you're going to have that bouncing sound wave problem. So just putting things like putting a curtain up, along a window, which is the glass, you're just deadening the sound a little bit so the sound waves go to these things called bass traps, essentially, which make that sound go away, right? Mm-hmm. So the drums will sound more pleasant if the room is set up to be a dead sounding room. And you can do that by just having furniture, floor rugs, curtains on the window, that kind of thing will do wonders. It's surprising how much it makes a difference.
It's all about absorption, right?
Exactly.
And it's interesting, like when you move into a new place and there's no furniture in there, you can feel it right away. You can hear it, right?
Yeah.
And you walk down the hall and you clip, clop,
Right.
and it sounds very hollow and cold. And we recently repainted our living room, and the same thing. I mean, you move all the furniture, or at least many pieces of furniture away, and it's so hollow.
That's exactly right. So just filling it up with the stuff you use in your day-to-day life, like, couches and pictures and paintings and, curtains will do wonders. Now, the next wave, the next place to go to would be keeping the sound either from going outside or the sound outside from coming in. Mm-hmm. So for us in this radio studio that we have, we've got these amazing things that we've glued on the wall that probably will never come down because I did it. It's perfect. But it's sound baffling devices, and these if you clap your hands in this space, it's dead. It doesn't have that reverberation feeling, and that's because these were so artfully placed
Beautifully
in exactly
done.
the right place.
Yes.
But how do we keep the sound from outside, like the leaf blowers or anything else, the dog barking? Well, here's what you do. You have to have dual glazed windows. That means 2 panes of glass, and that's going to make a window, because a window essentially is just a big hole in the side of your house. If it's one piece of glass, it's pretty much like you've got no barrier in terms of sound. But if you've got 2 layers of glass, you're going to have a much more efficient sounding room, keeping the loud noise from outside. Also, insulation. If there's no insulation in the walls, sound will travel through more efficiently and more effectively. So you may want to consider, if you don't have an insulated space, put insulation in as well.
Have you heard of something called Quiet Rock? It's this acoustical drywall.
I have, yes.
Is it good or not?
It is good, and it definitely works more effectively. The most efficient soundproofing device is space from one wall to another. So when you do a recording studio, you're basically making a room within a room. There's a room inside a room. The room inside has walls that have double layers of drywall on both sides, plus insulation, plus none of the structural framing is attached to the exterior frame, because if it is, then it becomes like a subwoofer or a bass cabinet, and you're hearing the vibration of a low bass rumble, like if you're at a parking light and a car comes up with a super loud stereo, you hear
Sure.
the So it's that bass tone that cuts through everything, right? And if you've got walls attached and you've got a huge loud amount of sound coming either outside or going inside out, if those walls are freestanding and there's space between them, you're not going to hear the sound. But if it's just a single wall, you definitely will. So the next level, double layers of drywall, using the soundboard that you're talking about, even underlayments on floors. Like if you're in a condominium or an apartment and you constantly hear the person above with the high heels, on the hardwood floor, there's really no way around that unless there's a sound dampening underlayment under the wood floor. And if you hear it like that, it's probably because the builder didn't do that. So
what do we do? Like if we're renting, or we bought the place, how do we amend it?
Well, if you go upstairs with a plate of cookies and you say, Hi, Donna. Listen, I hear your heels all the time.
Shoes,
Love your
by the
shoes. They're beautiful. What are those? Ferragamo or whatever. I don't know what the women's lines are, but could you consider taking your shoes off when you're walking around?
Ooh.
Because I could tell you're nervous in the morning when you're getting ready. You're very
pacing.
fast. You sound like a matador, for crying out loud. So you can either do that, or you can do things like put, treatments, panels on the ceiling. You can hang fabric, like parachute-like material.
Kind of billowing.
That'll do a little bit of good, but not 100%. You can ask Donna to put carpet, rugs, floor area rugs on the floor. But if you can really hear the footsteps, it was built incorrectly, and there's not a whole lot you can do after the fact except to have Donna take her shoes off.
Or if you're starting from scratch and you're putting in some new flooring, this might be the time to then put this. It's basically underneath the top layer.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a condo owner and you're going to do your own new hardwood floor or tile floor, you should look into underlayments. They're sound dampening underlayments, and they'll go under, they're like almost like cork material. So it just keeps that loud, high-pitched sound of echoing from coming into your apartment below. So definitely do that.
So, and speaking of cork, it's almost like cork material. What about using cork?
Cork is great, actually. They use that for underlayments. They also use it for flooring. So again, that's kind of about your visual style and what you want to do. And but there's a ton of great soundproofing materials out there that you can investigate if you're about to do a project.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you have a neighbor or someone from the outside is causing you angst from their noise, putting this cork flooring on your floor isn't going to help.
No, that's going to keep the sound from inside going out.
To somebody else.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So things that are outside coming in, like weather stripping would be helpful.
Yeah.
Big, thick curtains that, double layers of drapes with insulation on them would do a huge amount of good. Just looking to see any air space or gaps, pretty much the same thing as an energy audit. Sound is going to travel through the same thing that climate and weather is going to travel through, cracks and openings in windows, doors, and stuff like that. So, that would be the first step.
And tell me about this. I know what caulking is, but I haven't heard of acoustical caulk sealant. Wait, what's that?
So it's rated to deaden sound transmission more efficiently than other products, but the real caulking will work just fine.
Oh, is this kind of a scam?
It's not really a scam if it's used in tandem with the other products that it was meant to go with. But if you install soundproof walls the wrong way, you're fighting an uphill battle. So again, it's the space between walls that's going to give you the soundproofing. And all materials are different in terms of sound transmission. Like cement is great. Like if you're in a bunker, chances are you're not going to hear anything outside. If you're in a house with double layers of drywall plus insulation, better. If you're
it's like the cone of silence.
Exactly.
From Get Smart, what I mean?
Yeah.
What about just having some really solid core doors?
Well, yeah, that's a huge factor because the doors, if they're hollow core, and then the way they're hollow core is that they're really lightweight. So when you open them, they almost don't even have enough weight to throw themselves open. They're just like something you could punch a hole through with your hand.
Oh, that's terrible.
So what you want, if you have a front door that's not solid core, you may want to think about getting a solid core door with brand new gaskets and insulation around the perimeter, and that'll really do wonders to keep the sound out.
Don't forget that the dishwasher can do quite a bit to help either make you really irritated with noise or feel like you have total peace of mind. We have a fairly new dishwasher, and it's amazing how you can check the sound rating before you buy your appliances. Like the dishwasher, I mean, before it used to be so disruptive, and now I don't even hear it on.
I know, to the point where I sometimes don't even know if mine's working or not.
Yeah.
And then I have to look and see if the light's on.
And you can also get sound reduction pads, I understand, like these rubber pads under countertop appliances to put a little cushioning,
exactly.
in the laundry room, to make that feel soft. So
if
all
you
these
do a
things.
little research, you can make a world of difference with soundproof.
And all of a sudden you're going to go, finally.
I can finally hear
think.
nothing. I can finally hear nothing.
Nothing. Anyway, we'll put this on the website at yourhomewizards.com. Eric Stormer, Cindy Dole. We love to improve your home and improve your life.